But this is one of the best power plays ever assembled in the history of the game. Full stop.
The Oilers, who have started a little wishy-washy this season, as is their wont, have broken up their legendary power play unit. They have broken up Hyman in front of the net, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, Draisaitl down low, Evan Bouchard on the blue line. That, as it is 2 for 19 this season, 10.5%, 28th in the NHL, 10.5%, below 11%, if you know what I mean. That might be Mark Spector's music. They've broken up that power play, which I guess it shouldn't surprise us totally because Hyman hasn't been scoring, which has been weird. He's got this record for the worst start by a 50-goal scorer the next season ever. So that's a bit of a bummer. But we should have known because more and more we would see a second power play unit hit the ice. We'd be like, why the fuck is Darnell Nurse on the Oilers are on the power play? They play these guys the entire 2 minutes, and they never really have to because they score within the first 22 seconds. Leon Draisaitl just bangs one in from the goal line, or Hyman taps one in from the asshole. It wasn't happening. So they have broken up the first power play unit. They've moved Zach Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who quite frankly, Nuge was my least favorite part of this power play to begin the season. He just didn't really look himself. But they've broken it up. They now have 2 more kind of balanced power play units. We'll bring in Petey in just a minute to discuss it because I know he has thoughts on that. But Sean, if you could bring up what Mark Spector wrote on Sportsnet, because Pete has not seen or heard this, we are going to read it to him. We are going to get his reaction. Can you just do the camera just on Pete, or is that going to be difficult? Okay. Mark Spector on sportsnet.ca. I saw this screen grab and I needed to make sure this was real. Wrote, some breakups are inevitable, like Emily and Paris's old fling or the high school love who went off to a different university. Then there are more regretful ones like the Beatles, or worse, the Titanic.
What?
Awesome.
I don't know how the Titanic was a breakup.
I mean, it
Well,
quite literally
anything like
broke in half.
the boat broke.
It broke in half.
So that's okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I don't know if that's exactly what he was trying to do there, but
So, where does splitting up the best power play unit in hockey fit in the long list of broken hearts and busted dreams? Later, he adds, is replacing Nugent Hopkins with Arvidsson doomed to resemble, oh my God, Sammy Hagar's bleeding attempt at fronting Van Halen for David Lee Roth? Does Skinner fit in seamlessly with McDavid and Draisaitl, or is he Yoko Ono? Insane piece of writing from Mark Spector for a few reasons. Putting Jeff Skinner on Yoko Ono watch, amazing behavior. Love it. Hilarious stuff. But as my rock friends, and I think that Petey, not to stereotype, but he's a white man, I think that as Petey can attest, Sammy Hagar was a fine replacement for David Lee Roth. I could see him off camera.
He is nodding in the background.
So let's bring Petey on. Sammy Hagar, I think that one of Van Halen's top 5 songs is Right Now.
Yeah, it's not like Journey where they go a totally different direction. It's the same. It's a rock star. Like Sammy Hagar literally was a rock star at the time. Absolutely insanity. They did not lose a step with Sammy Hagar. Now, will they lose a step with Arvidsson and Skinner? But this is one of the best power plays ever assembled in the history of the game. Full stop. That's it. Like, they're still producing opportunities. They're still getting scoring chances. First of all, this is national news because they practiced like this. We're talking about practice. They haven't played in a game like this. Like, if they come out Friday, and I'm still not convinced that they're going to mix these up in the game. I'm not. This might be, you talk about what a genius their coach is. Maybe this is just a coaching ploy. And we're practicing. Okay, you guys you're not producing on the power play. Let's break you up.
Hey, thanks for watching the channel.
We appreciate everybody who checks out our stuff, but 80% of our viewers are not actually subscribed to this page, so if you could smash that subscribe button, it would go a very long way for us.
The more subscriptions we have, the more visibility we get from YouTube, which allows us to do more.
So press that button. Thank you.
Like, you don't break up 3 guys on the best power play in the history of the game. Evan Bouchard's one-timer from the top, you're getting rid of that? But Hyman in front, you're going to get rid of that for Skinner and Arvidsson? Like, I don't believe it. I think it's just a ploy to do it in practice, and watching the media take over, and we are that's us taking over. Like, they haven't done it in a game yet. Let's wait. Maybe they do it the first time to just go, okay, guys, like, this is what could happen if you guys don't get your shit together. So I'm not convinced yet.
I do think it could maybe be a little bit of a attempt at fixing themselves 5-on-5, because right now their first power play.
Yeah.
So you're going to say
I like this because it gives them an opportunity to get Arvidsson going.
Arvidsson with Skinner, and so I don't know if we've said what it is yet, but it's Arvidsson, Draisaitl, Skinner, McDavid, and Bouchard.
So you still do have the big three with McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard on that top unit.
Didn't you have Ekholm on that top unit?
Now Ekholm is on the second unit with Darnell Nurse, Hyman, Nuge, and
I saw
Henrique,
one run of practice where we had Ekholm there. So I'm just saying.
Oh,
that's
gotcha.
one you can't change. You can't.
I
wouldn't
wouldn't love that.
You can't change
I think you need Bouchard on the top unit. So, like, I like this with the caveat that it should only be temporary because you have the fucking Beatles. If we're gonna criticize Mark Spector, I'm gonna give him credit. Calling the Oilers' top power play unit the Beatles is cool. I like it. I'm going to continue doing that. You have the Beatles. So you mix things up. You get them going a little bit at 5-on-5. You get some steam behind Victor Arvidsson. Maybe the change gives him a kick in the pants as a power play unit and spreads things out a little bit. But at some point, when water finds its level, you have to go back to that superstar unit and you have to run them into the ground because you have the Beatles and it's a strength that nobody else in the league has basically ever had.
And what would the Beatles do, Petey, when they either weren't getting along or they didn't really feel like themselves? They'd bring in one more. They'd say, okay, Eric Clapton's going to sit in on this session so we can't yell at each other. Or Billy Preston's going to come in and he's just going to play the piano. It's going to sound better, but also we're going to know we can't be fucking assholes and waste this guy's time. So does sprinkling in, like, I don't know that Victor Arvidsson is Billy Preston, but like, does at least changing a little bit of it get their attention to say, all right, maybe we need to sit up a little straighter?
And is Ryan Nugent Hopkins Pete Best? And the one piece on this, like he could be replaced. And Nuge has been very successful in there because he can come downhill there and he does have a shot that's effective and can move the puck. But is he the one guy on here that you could replace and still continue to be one of the best bands in the world by taking Pete Best and putting Ringo Starr? Maybe. And that's the one I don't mind. Hyman with Arvidsson, I don't like that at all. And Bouchard for Ekholm, if that happens, I don't like that. Nugent Hopkins to me is the one piece you can still move on this and still have some success. And whether that is trying to jumpstart Arvidsson or not, maybe that's Skinner in that spot because he can distribute the puck well. He's a very talented guy in that same spot. Not worried about the Oilers power play. Look where the Oilers were a season ago at this time of the year. I think it's way too early to panic on the Oil. Skinner, I think, is starting to right his ship already. But I don't think it's panic time. I'm excited to see what they actually do in the game, whether it's just a first period adjustment. Hey, we're going to do this for the first period, just see what happens. And maybe, you know what, maybe they get 2 goals in the first on the power play, and all of a sudden you've got 2 power play units. But this Oiler power play, they eat up a minute and a half, a minute and 40 right now. Like them, they don't need 2 power play units when they have their top unit going. So maybe a balanced attack gives those guys a little more rest. Maybe it makes 97 better 5-on-5 because he's not playing those extra minutes. Maybe 29, who I don't think is really off to the start he wants. Maybe that gets him on track because he's not eating all those minutes on the special team. So there's a lot that goes into it. I just want to see how it plays out in one game first.
Yeah, I said earlier in the show, I don't think I knew what the Oilers' second power play unit was last season. I could have
they didn't have one.
Guessed some guy like every now and then they would throw, you'd be like, oh, like Nurse is out there. That's fun for him or something. But like you just didn't really know what it was. Yeah. And I remember we talked to Bob Stauffer this offseason and we were like, hey, they're going to be getting ready for another deep playoff run. Do you think that maybe they do 2 power play units this season? And he was like, no, they are going to score 1 million goals with the best power play unit ever. I do think, and this will be like maybe my last comment on the Oilers before we talk about some Utah Hockey Club. I think the beginning of the season has been a little bit of an adjustment back to kind of real life where Stu Skinner got so locked into being one of the best players on the ice that I think we thought the season would start and it wouldn't be inconsistent Stu Skinner. That was a wrong thought to have. The visual on Saturday against the Stars of Connor Brown having a breakaway, taking a slap shot and missing the net instead of scoring like every game like he did in the postseason. Like some of the things that just came to be for this perfectly, no pun intended, well-oiled machine, it was going to become a regular season kind of feeling things out again sort of thing. And that's where the Oilers were. But to your point, Petey, I am not worried about the goalie right now. I thought that his performance against Carolina was one of the best individual performances I've seen from a player across the NHL this season. There's going to be inconsistency there, but by and large, I think they are going to be fine.
We all silly like the mayor.